Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema. Sit down now. It's not bright, and it's more dark and foggy, even though you can't see out my window. I promise you it's dark and foggy out there. But it is very early in the morning, on a Friday, no less. And if it's early in the morning on a Friday, Seaman's on Disney+. And March 26, 2021... that's Marvel-oriented. Sometimes it's Star Wars-oriented. Right now, it's Marvel-oriented. And unlike this show, seemingly, the old Seaman ain't got no time to waste. So why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler-free into The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 2, The Star-Spangled Man. And quick shout-out to Disney Plus and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You're at least getting my episode titles right up front, man. I'm not having to wait later in the day to see what the episode title was. I know it's the Star-Spangled Man, and we'll get into the Star-Spangled Man, but I got a little bit of a bone to pick with Marvel, and this is something I'm now seeing that is common between both the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision. I didn't bump into this as much with WandaVision, mainly because I think I really enjoyed the recreation of the sitcom stuff, and I was just fascinated with the format, the unique format of how that show worked, and trying to figure out how they were going to adapt specifically the House of M, like knowing that as a comic book fan. I really engaged with all that stuff, and maybe I didn't bump into this the way some non-comic book fans seem to bump into the fact that it was like, yeah, the sitcom stuff's cool, but like, can we get it going? And that's what I'm starting to feel with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I want to see the show get going, because we only got 4 episodes left. Like, you have a 6-episode series, I need to be flat out sprinting every episode. And I didn't feel like we were sprinting in this episode. Felt like we were kind of taking a nice stroll in the park or in the forest, you know? like it kind of felt like this episode could have been part of the first episode. Like, the key bits of information and the key things that we learn and get in this episode. And trust me, when we get into the spoiler episode, you're going to be like, see, man, look at all the stuff you talked about. Yes, Marvel finds a way to stuff these things full of stuff, and yet I feel like I'm missing stuff. And while we'll have plenty to talk about, the things that they execute really well in this episode, they execute quick and concisely. So much so that you could have tacked 20 minutes onto that first episode, giving me everything that this episode gave me, all in that, and I would be set up and ready to go. And I think that's my issue. It's the one chink in the Marvel Cinematic Universe armor right now. I don't think Kevin Feige understands the urgency of the miniseries. And maybe because WandaVision was 8 episodes, I was a little bit more lenient. This is 6 episodes. I need the absolute most that you can give me every episode, and I need every episode to take big steps. And I didn't feel like I had that this episode. Like I said, that important stuff that we got, one, it was done concisely and quickly, where it's like, that could have been in the first episode. We could have gotten more. I mean, there are 2 people on this poster, Sharon Carter, Baron Zemo. I don't have anything 2 episodes in on these characters to talk about. And it's like, I feel like they should be really important to this story. And that's the thing, man. Like, if you're going to do the miniseries, understand how a miniseries works. If you're going to do an elongated movie, which you could look at and be like, hey, this is going to probably come in around 5-something hours. Because, again, these episodes are not an hour long. We're right in that 35 to 40-minute range, tops. If that's what you're going to do, drop the whole season. If you're gonna do these episode by episode so you can stay in the conversation longer, you gotta give me more than what you're giving me, because I promise you, this is not going to trend all day on Twitter. Like, it'll trend maybe a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the afternoon, but already, like, I feel like the surge of fans just being that excitement already is kind of dwindling on this show, and maybe it's too much Marvel too quickly. I don't know, but I think some of it is the fact that, like, kind of felt like we lost a little bit of this episode. And then the episode made a joke about it. Like, there was something happening that I was enjoying, right? Like, as a moment, I was like, oh, I was looking forward to this moment. But with the amount of time that's left in this episode, like, I feel like you're wasting my time right now, and I don't have time for this particular thing. And then Sam literally says, like, we don't have time for this. Like, we gotta go doing some stuff. And I don't know, it just kind of grinded my gears a little bit this morning. But ranting aside, we do get some good stuff in this episode. From a story perspective and the character analysis of Sam and Bucky, there are some good story beats here. And there are some good real world story beats here. You know, those issues, things that the first episode was kind of laying the foundation of stuff I figured we would be talking about. Race. The government and the way the government impacts people and how that's viewed upon. That stuff is all going on in their conversations, and there are some really impactful moments in this episode that kind of touch on those things. I dig all that. But I felt like we were a little lacking in the action department. We do get an action scene, but it is not spellbinding the way the action certainly was in that Falcon. I still can't get over how good that Falcon scene. And certainly not here. I don't even know if I was necessarily as impressed with this sequence as I was with like the 1 minute that we got with Winter Soldier last week. Like, I just felt like it was a little lacking in that department. And while we have Sam and Bucky together finally here, I wanted to get a little bit more out of that story with the two of them. While we are addressing things, specifically like Sam's decision to give up the shield, here, like, I don't know. It was just like, it felt like a little bit of something was missing. And we also have that Star-Spangled Man, and we do get to learn more about the new Captain America. And as a comic book fan, I probably should have mentioned this last week in the spoilers, but I wasn't really thinking about it because, like, it happens right at the end. You don't really get the confirmation of everything there. Well, we get all the confirmation of things here, and the stuff we learn about the new Captain America ties to the comics, ties to a specific character in the comics. We get a couple elements that are tied to that character in the comics in this episode, which was kind of cool. And you do kind of get a little bit of a feel of what's going on with this new Captain America and what his standpoint is versus the feelings that Bucky and Sam have toward this individual. And some of that stuff I thought was really interesting in the way they were exploring that stuff. And again, it was like, if you could have given me that in the first episode, we could have been doing maybe something even more interesting here. Now, the other thing that the episode does give us that I kind of dug, and again was executed fairly quickly and succinctly, is we do get to learn a little bit more about our villains in this episode. And while we're not really learning anything about Mr. Baron Zemo or how he's going to play into all of this, we do get to pick up some information on the Flag Smashers. We get confirmation on who their leader is, and it's a really cool twist on stuff that, you know, exists in the comics that I dug. Like, when I saw it, I was like, that's smart. I like what you're doing there. Be interested to get more of that story. And that's another thing. It's like, you gave me a little bit, but, like, I still have stuff to learn about this character. And I'm like, I don't know if we have that much space left in only 4 episodes to go. But the stuff that we get around the Flag Smashers, I did dig. And understanding those characters a little bit more, I did dig. I got some questions. I got some things I'm very interested in. We got you know, some mystery going on that needs to be figured out that I'm looking forward to seeing be figured out. Hopefully next episode. I don't know. We'll see where we get. But I did dig the stuff that we get in and around the Flag Smashers, and we'll talk about that in the spoiler review. But the other thing that I did love this whole episode, and that was sorely missing in that first episode, is having these two guys on screen together. Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan's chemistry is fantastic. And in the world of the buddy cop type of, you know, show, you know, Marvel is always changing gears and, like, what it's giving you. Like, I'm going to give you a different flavor of tea every time you come out. We're certainly diving into the buddy cop genre here, and I love these two guys on screen together. Their chemistry and the reason that they butt heads and the reason that they are friends, like, all that stuff just lives in these two guys. Like, I kind of feel like maybe their real world relationship is similar to their movie character relationship, because that's the type of chemistry it is, man. Like, you can just tell that these two guys as actors can play off each other really well, and if one guy lays something down, the other guy's going to pick it up. And I love getting that. Give me so much more of that as we go forward. Like, I really hope the next 4 episodes are all an hour long. and I'm sure we'll say this every freaking week, but like, I want more. Like, what you're giving me is good. Just give me more of it, man. Like, maybe it's Feige and co are just kind of smoothing the edges on building a television show, but for me right now, it kind of feels more like we're building an elongated movie, in which case, like, when you look back at the 6 episodes, you're going to go, oh man, it all did what I needed it to do. But in the world of the miniseries, this week I was just missing that big thing that I could latch onto to get me to next week's episode. But plenty to discuss when we get to the spoilers, that's for sure. And I look forward to talking about all of those lovely things with you. But for the non-spoiler, that's it, man. That's all I got to say. I felt like this episode was lacking a little bit. Felt like the sand was slipping through the fingers a little more than last week. But I think we do get some good Sam and Bucky stuff. I think we get some nice real-world elements that tie into their story. And I am just all the more fascinated at what they're going to do with the new Captain America, how that's going to play into this story, and how the Flag Smashers are starting to kind of be defined a little bit more, and how they're going to play going forward. Like, that stuff, I am interested and I am intrigued. I just wanted a little bit more this week from me, Marvel. Give me a little bit more. But that's it, man. That's all we're going to say on the non-spoiler side. I'm sorry if I didn't get you super jacked this week like I do on other weeks. This was an okay episode for me. Like I said, I think if you combine it with the first episode, you'd have a really good first episode. But it's what we got. What we got was good. I enjoyed what I got. I just wanted more of it. So those are all my non-spoiler thoughts. Now I want to know what you're thinking, man. Did you watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 2, The Star-Spangled Man? What'd you think? Keep it spoiler-free, but did you dig this episode? Did you feel like you were lacking or wasting time a little bit in this episode? Or do you find yourself, like, I'm conflicted because as I'm talking, I'm thinking, there's a lot of stuff in here, man. So, like, if you didn't feel like this episode wasted time, what'd you dig about it, man? What was working for you? What'd you think of the action sequence this week? Do you need more? Do you need less? We're right where we want to be? Anything you're thinking regarding the Falcon and the Winter Soldier goes down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man every Friday morning when we're talking the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just want to be here for movies or TV or trailers you haven't yet, you want to show a little love, support the old C-Man, jump over there, man. Hit that subscribe button. Come join C-Maniac Nation. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema, sit down when we'll be talking spoilers on the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace.
Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.